we'll get to my pick here, and again, I could be a homer with this, but I'm enamored with Caleb Williams, or not Caleb Williams. I'm enamored with Caleb Williams. I'm enamored, if I can speak. I'm enamored with another Caleb, and that's Kaleb Johnson, the Iowa Hawkeye, because I just it kind of came out of nowhere, this production, because this is risky in the sense that it is 1 year of production, but it's insane production. It's 21 touchdowns as I'm recording this, and he scored a touchdown in every single game. And we're talking about the Big Ten. And yes, the Iowa Hawkeyes have played Ohio State, and he played really well against Ohio State. It does scare me a little bit, but again, fantasy football sometimes doesn't have to be hard. I want to bet on elite talent when I see it, and when I watch Caleb, I don't know why I keep saying Caleb Williams. I just have Caleb Williams on the brain, I guess, because it's the only good thing in Chicago Bears land right now is Caleb Williams. When I watch Kaleb Johnson play, again, I'm going to dig deeper into it, but the breakaway runs, it's very reminiscent of Derrick Henry. I know he's not Derrick Henry. It's going to be so interesting to see what his measurables are and what he runs at the combine and how fast he is. But he looks pretty fast when he's playing. And I don't have NFL Draft Buzz pulled up, but to me, I know he's not Derrick Henry. Okay, I'll say that one more time just so I don't get chastised in the comments. But he looks like Derrick Henry light. He really does. And again, it's one of these evaluations where we're talking about him in November, and he could rise, he could fall. Feels like I'm drafting him a little bit high, but again, I'm gonna bet on the talent that I've seen from him thus far. Do you have any thoughts on the man from Iowa, Derrick Henry light?
Sorry, the pizza's here. I just found out. So
Good, the pizza's here.
yeah, I mean, I am too enamored with Kaleb Johnson. To the point where I don't know if he's good yet. Like, is this the issue? Like, I haven't been able to convince myself, like, is this guy good? But you know what? You know what I'd rather do, Seth? I'd rather just let an NFL team tell me what they think.
Yeah, probably.
Like, do I think
that's
Brian
probably a
Robinson,
good idea?
Do I think Brian Robinson is great, Seth? He's good. He's fine.
He's all right.
But if he lands on a coaching staff that wants to give him 15 touches a game and all the goal line carries, I'm interested. I'm interested.
Yeah.
So Kaleb Johnson for me is a guy who is a de facto first round pick right now just because of the current talent profile and the current talent pool. And then a lot of it is just going to kind of come down to what the NFL thinks, because certainly if the NFL abandons ship on Kaleb Johnson and becomes a day 3 pick that doesn't land and get out, just so far out, it won't even be funny. But if he does land in a good spot with some lack of competition, maybe like a Vegas in the second or third round, if that's something that happens, like that's in, like I would be immediately in if that kind of if something like that happened. Now I was staring down on this paper trying to figure out where I would go next for my next pick, and it's between another incredible explosive playmaker and somebody who I think might not be the sexy pick. But why aren't we talking about Emeka Egbuka more? This is a guy who we were putting in the first round for rookie drafts last year with this incoming class and all those receivers. And I don't know about you, Seth. I do not feel as good about the receiver class overall this year as I have for the past couple of years. And for some reason, Egbuka right now is not a consensus top 12 guy. Maybe he's getting closer to that, but I think we need to revisit him. So this is somebody who very smartly decided to wait another year before coming out of college. Very much helped his draft stock. He might be a first round pick now. And so, Egbuka has the height, 6'1", 205, has a solid 40. He's actually incredibly fast, projected in the 4.4s. And here are the important things. He's a refined route runner. And if there's anything we know is that Ohio State receivers know how to play football. They know how to block. They know how to do things the right way, and that's having an expanded route tree. Something that a guy like JSN didn't even get at OSU, but Egbuka has that benefit there. So I'm going to take a leap and say a guy like Egbuka gets drafted a little bit further ahead than we think, just because he's been around for a while. He's not the flashy new toy, but NFL teams are going to see his composure, his experience, and they're going to be foaming at the mouth to draft him.
Yeah, it's a guy that I've liked. I've liked his film ever since I started studying for the 2024 rookie class, and to me, he kept showing up on tape when I was looking at JSN. It's like, who's this number 2 over here? And yeah, I'm right there with you. I moved him down a little bit just because I like the running backs in this class, but I have no problem with that pick. With that being said, I am going to take another running back at the 109, and that's Quinshon Judkins. And I flipped him over Trevion Henderson. I had Trevion Henderson over him, but I've flipped him back up because of the production at Ohio State this year. And he's just another big physical runner who can catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, this class is loaded with big physical guys, and like if you like old school football, and I can just, I mean, I know that the Ravens have Derrick Henry, but so they're probably not going to draft one of these guys. Well, who knows? Maybe they will, and just kind of dash our hopes and dreams. But like Quinshon Judkins feels like a Steeler, a Raven. A lot of these running backs do. Just big, physical, downhill runner, can catch the ball to the backfield. So I like him a lot. Quinshon Judkins. I'll throw it to you to either comment on that or to go to the 110, Mr. Babbage.
Yeah, this is where it gets. I like that pick. It was between Egbuka, another wide receiver, and then Quinshon Judkins. So if it would have went running back, it would have been him. I do have him over Trevion Henderson. It may just be because of how lethal his spin move is in NCAA 25, but regardless, I think both are going to turn out to be good NFL backs. I have a few different running backs that I like here, so I'm going to go ahead and get the last receiver that I truly love in this class, and that's Tre Harris out of Ole Miss. So we've seen, go look at the numbers for what he's done this year. As the wide receiver wide receiver 1 for Jackson Dart and a very pass heavy Ole Miss offense. And the reason I love him so much is because, and again, like, we're not really at the point in the year where I'm truly diving into tape, but just from what I've seen so far, I'm getting some flashes of that Nico Collins-esque, like, true alpha X receiver. And when you have that mold that Nico Collins has, that big, tall, strong, fast, and you have a refined route tree, that is what is going to be the biggest question mark for Tre Harris, is can he get to that level? I don't know if he's going to be there right away, but that is a true, like, dominant cheat code fantasy football asset, is that dominant X receiver. We love slot guys. Like, the slot, generates some softer coverage, but those guys, don't garner the same type of love and production that guys like Nico Collins can go out there and do. So I'm going to take Tre Harris because I want to see what you do here, and just kind of take my pick of the litter at the running back here at the end of this draft.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I should go running back here, but which I don't mind the Tre Harris pick one bit. I think there's a lot of upside there, but I probably would have gone with this pick I'm about to make. I probably would have taken Luther Burden, and it's one of these things where it could prove to be a mistake because there's no doubt that it's alarming, the drop-off in production. I think a lot of that has to do with Missouri as a program. Just something didn't click right for them this year. I don't know what happened, but I'm going to take a chance at this stage in the draft at the 111 on a wide receiver that before the season started was the consensus wide receiver 1 in the class. And it's hard to explain what happened, but this pick is a belief in the player that he can't, like, some NFL team is going to see him. Obviously the draft capital has dropped, and he's probably, who knows? I mean, who knows what some NFL team's going to decide to do. I guess he still could be taken in the first round. I would be surprised. He's probably more like a second or third round pick. So landing spot's going to be important. Situation's going to be important for Luther Burden, but there's a lot of upside with a player like this, and I'll take a shot at the 111.
Yeah,
If I just
absolutely.
if I'm in a situation where I just lost the championship game in fantasy football and I'm at the 111, this is the exact type of upside swing that I'm going to take. So Luther Burden for me at the 111 is my pick. Thoughts?
I love it. I'm a big Luther Burden fan. I don't know if I can put him over some of these other guys yet. In a couple of leagues I'm in scoring settings where heavily like huge bonuses for big plays. Like there's like 7 bonus points for a 50+ yard touchdown. Those are the types of things that you're going to get from Luther Burden, like a Jameson Williams type of explosive asset. The question is, how NFL ready is he? And is he going to struggle, with a refined route tree and playing outside consistently at the next level? But at the 111, he doesn't necessarily have to be that type of outside winner to be valuable for you. If he's a Lad McConkey in his offense, you're going to be very happy with the production that you're getting as a championship team. So I like that pick a lot. And I will close out the draft with a little bit of a sleeper pick. He is high on Draft Buzz's rankings. I don't know necessarily how he's being talked about nationally in bigger Dynasty podcasts, but this may end up being a little receipt of mine because I want to talk. Look, I'm gonna ignore the wise words of TLC, Seth, and I think I'm gonna go chasing waterfalls because one of my favorite rookies this year, Tyrone Tracy, right? Converted wide receiver, his senior season, transfers, becomes a running back. Well, Brashard Smith out of SMU fits that exact mold.
Wow.
At Miami, he was something of a specialist, had 69 receptions for 770 yards and 4 touchdowns across 35 games, and then had some sparse rushing, 18 rushes for 177 yards, and a touchdown. He also was in the return game. So we like seeing that, especially with the dynamic kickoff. Any way for him to get on the field is positive. Now he flips, transfers to SMU as a senior, now as a running back, where he is currently rushing for over 1,000 yards, over 6 yards a carry, 13 touchdowns, and still in a SMU offense that, hasn't really been super pass heavy, not an offense where a running back, even of Brashard Smith's caliber, is going to be drowned in targets. A very similar situation to what we saw in Purdue for Tyrone Tracy last year. So very similar situations. And if this guy can ball, if he's a guy like Tracy who's going to grind, he's going to do the things right, he's going to learn how to block, he's probably going to be – he might not get the draft capital that we're looking for, but I think he's a sleeper guy that if he does become a day 2 pick should be a first-round draft pick. So I'm gonna go into the crystal ball a little bit and see if I can be way ahead of people on Brashard Smith.
All right. I will – I'm kind of. I mean, we'll see. Well, it's kind of out of left field, but
I know it's bold.
It's a bold take, but I do love it. Because he does have a skill set, like you said, that I think he can find a real role for an NFL team. Much like I love the Tyrone Tracy call out. Like I think that's really good.
Too early in the process to be saying like Travion Henry, like. This is the time, too, where we can start telling people, like, hey, Brashard Smith, like, this is a guy to look out for. Or, like, hey, Luther Burden, like, don't forget about him. Like,
he
may not all of a sudden just be bad. So this is the time to start, like, throwing some curveballs and saying, like, hey, like, look out for these guys over the next few months.